And so if we talk about you get into a situation where you do have to hire new staff or you're growing and you just need to bring on more people rather than replace someone, how can you position people right from the get-go to sort of be aligned with your values, with your strategies, with your culture? Especially, it's one thing when you bring people into the office, it's easy because they can kind of see it all around. But as you mentioned, a lot of us are, especially administrative staff, a lot of us are working remotely. How do you best do that to actually get people to be aligned and keep them aligned?
Well, I actually think, and James, you can appreciate this, but more virtual kind of meetings are not really the problem in terms of having effective meetings. Matter of fact, I would argue having a group meeting where you have everybody's face on a Zoom, that you can literally look every single person, those 5, 6, 7 people, whatever, in the eye, as opposed to around a table, might be even a more effective way to have a meeting. So I don't think you have to look at, virtual versus face-to-face as good or bad. You just need to know how to do it virtually, if that's in fact what you're doing. But with all that being said, at a very 1,000-foot level with companies, I think it's important for everybody to go through culture training. And ideally, culture training ought to be led by the leader of the company. And here's the history of the company. Here's what our values, here's our vision, our mission. Here's kind of themes, so to speak, we live by. Those themes, I know in our business, was critical to be able to grow from. And that's really the essence of what one of my books was about, is what those kind of 10 commandments, so to speak, of the business are. But all that needs to be trained, I think, when it comes to it. Now, having said that, my next kind of part B to your question is having a great onboarding is super important. And I believe, at least in the first 30 days, for most positions in the kind of businesses we're talking about, it needs to be intense. It needs to be controlled. It needs to be, 8, 9, 10 hours a day of real training. And that, I think that doesn't mean that you have to do that training, but it has to be mapped out in terms of the onboarding process. And then I think the real effective companies, they put it actually on the new team member to make sure they're on the right place at the right time in this, in this curriculum, so to speak, of this training. And then you have checkpoints literally daily with those individuals to see how they're doing. See, we have a tendency in this industry to grab someone and throw them out to shadow. Let me let you shadow. Well, to me, that's code for make this thing last forever and not necessarily make it effective. So I think having a much more controlled, ongoing onboarding process that's intense, you can save a lot of time, and you can very quickly see whether the person is going to make it or not, or real or not. And these assets are way too important that to not have the right kind of training and onboarding.